In this tutorial, we'll create a loading bar using geometry nodes. The bar will easily adapt to the desired animation time. We'll use nodes to work with text, and also use curves to create the indicator itself. Finally, we'll add a couple of simple shaders and apply a glow effect in the Compositor. Subscribe, like, and let's get started. Open Geometry Nodes Editor. Click New and delete Group Input. Add a Scene Time node. Add a Map Range node. Connect the frame to the value. Now, to turn our value into text, add a Value to String node. Next, to turn the text into geometry, add a String to Curves node and connect it to the geometry output. Next, let's set up our Map Range node. The maximum number of frames in a scene is 250. The animation starts from the first frame. So we set the minimum value to 1, and enter the value of 250 frames for the maximum. And during this time the counter should run from 0 to 100. Next, to add the percent character after the number, we'll add a string node and a join strings node. Connect the string connector to the strings, and the string to the strings. Here we enter the percent character, next we may adjust the layout so that the text is centered. And to turn the curve into geometry, add a Fill Curve node, as well as an Extrude Mesh node. And now, if we press play to play the animation, we can see our timer running. We may add a value node and connect it to the max frames. Now we can enter the value of the desired animation length, and the timer will adjust automatically. Next, let's create a loading bar. To do this, add a Join Geometry node and a Curve Line node. Here we connect our nodes to each other. We need to draw a line along the x-axis. For this, we select the direction parameter. Set the direction x. I'll set the length to 2 meters. And the starting point is -1. Now add a Resample Curve node. And set the value to 100. And now we'll add geometry to each of the points. In our case, it will be a cube. Set the cube size this way. We have the length parameter. And the resolution parameter. The cube size for one bar segment will equal the total length divided by the number of segments. So we divide by resolution. Thus, by increasing the line, we'll always get segments of the right size. And also, so that the line increases symmetrically from the center in both directions, add a combine XYZ node to the starting point. Also add a math node. Let's connect the length node and multiply this value by -0.5. Thus, when the line length is changed, the line will always start from the center. Next, we see our timer changes, but the indicator is still in place. In order for it to also load over time, we'll add a trim curve node. We are interested in the end parameter. This is our starting point, and this is our end of animation. Let's take ready-made values from the map range node and connect them to the end parameter. Since end has a maximum value of 1, this means the full length of the curve. And our value is 100. So we'll add a math node and divide this value by 100. Now our bar has a loading animation. Next, add the battery silhouette to our bar. Add a quadrilateral node. This is our square. Its width is equal to the length of the battery line. And in this case we have the height set to 1, and here we'll also set it to 1. To add thickness to the line, add a curve to mesh node. And add a curved circle node as a profile. Set resolution to 6. Radius 0.015 meters. This will be our stroke. Add a value node. Let's rename this node to outline. Next, let's add a join geometry node. Then add a cube node. In the set position node. Here we set the following values for the cube size to make the tip of our battery. And now let's add an outline to our text. To do this, we connect the geometry of the text curves to the existing nodes. Add a join geometry node. And here we connect information from our text here. Thus, the outline will appear around the numbers. We may also adjust their thickness. Now let's add a set material node to assign materials. We've got 3 groups of materials. I'll switch the display mode to the render view. And now let's move on to setting up our materials. Add the first material. I'll name it neon. And I'll assign this material to the bar. Next will be text material. And the third material is outline. Let's assign the material text to the numbers counter. And for the stroke we assign the outline material. Let's turn off the default light source. Go to the world settings and set the surrounding color to black. We may also turn off the indication in the viewport. Let's return to our geometry and go to the shader editor. Let's start with the bar material. Add an emission node and connect it to the surface. Now the loading bar looks like a solid piece, not divided into segments. Let's go back to the Geometry Nodes editor. And here we go to the settings of our bar. We are interested in the parameter of the width of one segment. In order to create gaps between the segments, we add a math node in the multiply mode. If we multiply by 0.5, then the gap will be equal to the width of the segment. And this is how the loading looks. We may turn off this node if the option without gaps is more suitable. Let's go back to the material settings. Let's select the text material. Either we may remove the material completely or add the emission material. And set the color to black here. And then go to the outline material settings. Let's also add the emission material to highlight our battery. Now the bar color will be green. And I'll leave the battery color white. Let's increase the emission strength so that the outline becomes white. I'll set the strength value to 3. And now, to add the glow effect, go to the Compositor. Press New, add a glare node in the bloom mode, and in the viewport shading settings enable always for the Compositor effects display. This way we see the effect itself and can adjust its parameters. I'll reduce the size and strength of the glow. Thus we get this loading bar. This bar is easy to adapt to the desired animation time, and you may also play with different shapes of the battery. For example, use a circle instead of a strip. See you in new tutorials.